Well, good evening. How's everybody? I apologize for the delay. We just got back from the Elmwood Cemetery, another storytelling event. If you've not had a chance to check that out, they do this incredible thing where they've got people in costume and they're standing in front of gravestones and telling the stories of the people that are buried there. It's really very, very cool. So if you get a chance to do that, I highly recommend it. Make sure that you check the weather.
Yes.
Before you go. So, as Josh mentioned a moment ago, I'm a longtime storyteller with Spillit, and I loved coming up and thinking about my stories and practicing them and then coming out and sharing those stories with everybody else. But today, a little something different. I'm just going to tell you about my day. So this morning, we slept in a little bit. Got up around, 8:30, 9 o'clock. Showers, dressed, went to Sunrise Memphis downtown, our regular breakfast brunch spot. If you've not been, I'll know because we're there all the time. But it's fantastic if you ever get a chance. We go there about once a week. And then when we were done with that, we went to my office over by Crosstown and sat and did a couple of hours worth of work. And that went fine. And then we went over to Highland and Poplar, where we participated in some civic duty. The No Kings protest was there. And me and 5,000 of my closest friends that I have everywhere were there, which was great. And then after that, we headed over to the Elmwood Cemetery, which was, like I said, was fantastic. And then we made it over to another very cool storytelling event. After this, we're going to go to the Kroger and do some grocery shopping because when we were at Elmwood Cemetery, we had met up with some friends that were there with us, and they're coming over to our home in the middle of downtown to have brunch with us tomorrow. We've got this loaf of cinnamon challah bread, and if you've not made cinnamon challah bread French toast, you have not been living. Okay? It's magic. And so we're really looking forward to that. So I tell you all that because I saw a couple of other things today that were a little confusing to me. One was Black Hawk helicopters flying over my home. Yes, you heard that correctly. I live in the middle of downtown, and Black Hawk helicopters were right outside my window. I got a message from a friend, told me that ICE agents are now coming out of Shelby County Sheriff's cars. That my city tax dollars now are being used to round up my neighbors. So, and at the same time, I got a message from my stepdad, who lives in Kenosha, Wisconsin, exactly 600 miles away from my door. And there was a post on the Action News 5, the local news, who, by the way, are terrible. Just for the record, they're dreadful. But they had posted something about how positive it was that the National Guard was in town. And my stepdad commented on it, meaning that he is in Wisconsin, following a Facebook page for the Memphis local news. Enough that he had the wherewithal to comment on there that they should switch out the rubber bullets for lead. And that the only good domestic terrorist was a dead domestic terrorist. Now, I will remind you that last week, the President of our United States decided that anybody that doesn't agree with him is a domestic terrorist. It's an executive order. If you don't propose Christian values or anything that they think is objectionable, you are now a domestic terrorist. So while I'm making brunch plans for tomorrow in my war-torn city, my death is being called for by my family. So needless to say, I was thrilled. So I'm sure it's been a lovely evening of stories. And I'm sorry to bring this all to you today, but man, we gotta be paying attention. We gotta be paying attention because my mother, again, lives in Kenosha, Wisconsin. She thinks our city is on fire. And she's been here, like not that long ago. So So take your pictures. Tell your stories. Man, this is not what they are saying is a lie. It's just a lie. Does this city have problems? Absolutely. There's a lot of things you can say about Memphis, right? But the idea that the National Guard is going to fix any of them is just bizarre. It's just a lie. And we should all be standing on the corner of Highland and Poplar. So, one last thing. So, a few years ago, I'm going to leave you with this. A few years ago, my wife and I had the incredible pleasure to go to Europe. And we landed in London on the day that there was just this massive climate protest, right? They were expecting like 1 million people to show up in London and between Big Ben and all the way down to the river. It was just a million people supposed to show up at this thing. And did, by the way. And the city didn't shut down. Nobody set anything on fire, right? It was a powerful protest, but it was fine. And the cops were prepared for it, and were lovely, by the way. Lovely people. And then we went to Paris, and we were told while we were in London to make sure that we checked the protest site in Paris. And I'm like, what are you talking about? There is a website that you can go to. I don't know what it is, I don't remember what it was, but the Paris protests and strikes happen so frequently and in so many different sectors that there's a website that you can go to track them all. We are amateurs. We are amateurs, right? And while we were in Paris, we were sitting outside this incredible cafe, and we had seen a local news story that the Paris Fire Department was not happy with their retirement package. And they were protesting. And while we were sitting outside of this incredible cafe, eating the most incredible patisserie thing we had ever imagined, about 40 cop cars come roaring by to get to the firefighters' protest. We are amateurs. And when I talk to my Parisian friends, and they hear about what's going on in the United States, they're like, that's cool that you had that big protest. That's cool. Where were you the next day? Because when they protest, when they strike, it doesn't stop. They just stay there until shit changes. And those police had to move the fire department away from wherever it was that they were so that they would go back to work. I'm not saying that Paris has got the answer to everything. Good God, no. But I will tell you that we need to be much more organized. We need to be thinking about how do we resist in a positive way that doesn't feed into their narrative, right? This is why I'm in love with the Portland Frog. I'm in love with the Portland Frog. I love this idea, because it's a catch-22, right? You want to show up, you want to protest, this is not okay, you can't take my family away, you can't take my neighbors away, that's not cool. But I can't stay home easy, right? So like, if I go out there and I make a scene, I give them more reason to crack down. But if I'm standing there in a goddamn frog costume, right, out there doing the cha-cha slide, and you pepper spray me, you're the asshole, right? There's no picture or video that you can show to the world that's going to justify you rolling tanks and attack helicopters through my neighborhood. This is why I love the Frog. And there were dozens of these like inflatable characters on Highland and Poplar. It was a lot of fun. But I'm going to get off my soapbox now. But I love this because we have this opportunity to hear each other and hear the truth that each of us can tell. And again, if you get a chance to go to the Elmwood Cemetery, hear the truth from 100 years ago. And the things that they were dealing with then, they're not that different from now. And they were a lot harder back then. You want to hear about the yellow fever? Good God. Killed half the city. Killed or ran away half the city. Right? We were no longer a city. We had to become a charter again because we didn't have enough people. So we've been through darker times than this. But we need to be more organized. And we need to know that we have friends everywhere. Thanks for your time.